Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today, because I'm still kind of suffering from my broken hand, finger, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to do an odds and ends video because this is something I can do low impact, not hurt myself, not be doing too much out here in the shop. First off, injury update again. Nothing really new to report from my last video. Everything's healing up fine, guys. I'm actually getting to where I can kind of use my hand pretty well. It's still swollen a little bit, still heavily bruised. I've still got the stitch in here. The stitch is actually coming out later today. So that's part of it, should be resolved here very soon. When I'm around the house, and again, doctor's order said that because it's just a fracture, it's not really a break. It's something that's actually dislocated, not aligned properly, I guess, the bone. It's just a small fracture. He said when I'm around the house, just, to take the brace off, to use my hand. And I'm actually able to use it a good bit, but I'm not really comfortable yet coming out here in the shop and getting it into a situation where it might hurt it. Anytime I'm walking around, right, even in the car or whatever, I just put the brace on in case I bump it or do anything that might, injure it further. That's the main thing, is to protect it, to keep it from getting injured further at this point. So when I'm in the shop, I'm wearing this, and that really limits what I can do. So I'm still kind of taking things easy, but I'm hoping maybe next week, maybe I can slip out here. I got a couple little small jobs that are not very involved that maybe I can go ahead and get a little bit done. Plus I got a few other things that I might be able to work some videos in. So enough on the hand. It's getting better and it's doing well. Odds and ends. We're going to cover some stuff. I've got a bunch of stuff stacking up. Again, I figured this would be a good time to go through that. And this stuff is a combination of little items that I've purchased, as well as some viewer mail gifts that have come in. So let's get over here and get in it, see what we got over here in the goodie pile. All right, first up here, a viewer gift, viewer mail. This came from David Shepard out in Atwater, California, and he sent me a couple of oilers. He sees me using these Eagle 66 style oilers, and guys, this is honestly my favorite style of oiler. I just like them. They look good. They work good. I've never found one that I've found out in the wild. If I find them in a, junk store, antique store, swap meet, whatever, I've never found one that didn't work. They always seem to work pretty good. And I've got some with different types of spouts. This one's kind of neat. It's got the little bendable one. I've got a pretty good selection of these now over the years. They are getting kind of hard to find, and when you do find them, they're getting kind of expensive. I think a lot of that is because us YouTubers, myself, Adam Booth, some of these guys, we always show these and like them, and I think that's driven the price up a little bit. They also sent along a little bit newer style. This is just a little pump oiler. These are handy as well, and you can't have too many of these things. I had a set of the Eagle 66 with about 5 or 6 different types of oil, and I think I got enough now that I can kind of have a duplicate set and put a set in the back shop where I can have I don't have to go back and forth as much for these oil cans, which will be nice. Anyway, David, thank you very much for sending those along. Definitely put them to use. So up next, got a very nice little item that was sent in from someone that wishes to remain anonymous, and I'm going to respect that, but they sent me an Ames #1 portable hardness tester. Really, really nice unit here, something that I can definitely use. I don't really have a super good way of testing hardness. I've got that one little set from, PTI Instruments, and it does or PTC Instruments rather, it does a good job, but it only kind of gets me within a range. This one here is a little bit more accurate. And basically, the way this works, I got the instructions here, is you just take this here, you put a penetrator in this top piece, and unfortunately, it came with a 1/16 inch ball penetrator. To do steel, which is the scale, a C scale on the hardness test scale that I would really want to do, you need a diamond penetrator. Didn't have one in here. I can get one. The problem is that they're about $800. So anyway, I'm gonna have to figure something out there because I really don't necessarily want to spend $800 to buy just a little tip, one of these little tips right like this. But anyway, I guess it is what it is. But basically the way this works is you put your work in here, you have the penetrator for whatever scale you're going to do. You crank this down, and on this dial indicator, you get it to where it basically just goes to set. When it goes to set, that's when you start kind of, you move this little piece up here on the top around to the top, and you start cranking on this handle until you get to a weight measurement here on the indicator. For steel, you go to 150. For softer materials, it's either 60 or 100. There's a chart here that tells you which one to use. But you increase your pressure till you get to that point, and when you do, you back it off and you bring it back around to where it says set again. And when you do, when it comes back to set, you can come in here and on the scale right here, you can read what the hardness is, and it gets you to within 0.2 points on the hardness scale. And it's supposed to be a pretty accurate little tool. So anyway, I'm happy to have this. Like I said, I got to come up with the right penetrator. I've got the instructions here. I think this will be a really nice little handy tool to have. It came with a one standard in here for checking. I got some other standards in my pile of stuff over here where I can check things. But anyway, I got to come up with the right penetrator first. And in the manual here, it's got kind of your accessories or whatever. The one that I need is this diamond penetrator, the standard diamond penetrator number T1131, T1131. But anyway, hopefully I can find me a source for that that's not 800 bucks. This whole kit right here is a really nice kit. If you went and bought this thing new, I think it's around $4,000 or $5,000. So a very nice set here. Shouldn't complain too much about not having the right tip in there, I know. And I'm not complaining, but I am going to have to source one. All right, so very nice to have this in here, and we'll get the right piece in there, and hopefully you'll get to see this thing in action before too long. So up next, got a collection of some items that was sent in by Richard Bennett, and Richard has a company called Cinema Gear. VintageMachinery.org is his website, but basically he restores vintage and antique motion picture cameras and equipment, which I think is pretty darn cool. But he has some stuff here. He's got a little machine shop where he does supports his business from. But he sent along some items that he said he couldn't really use and thought I might be able to. First off, here's a little tool holder. This is Putnam Tool Company, 3/4 by 1 1/4. So I guess this is a 1 1/4 shank here, 3/4 inch here. So you would basically put this into a 3/4 inch or 1 1/4 inch tool holder, but you could put a 3/4 inch end mill in here. And this could be used on anything. It may be been for a specific machine, but it could be used with anything. So just basically a reducer. Got some type of cylinder gauge here. I'm not sure exactly what that goes to, but very nice, brand new old stock, still has the tag on it. But the main thing he sent was this sign bar, and this is a pretty good size sign bar, definitely something I could use over on my big surface grinder. This is a made by the person who owned it. More than likely, this was a project as his apprenticeship. That was very common when you were doing a tool and die grinding apprenticeship, that you had to make certain tools along the way. And if you look down here on the bottom, I don't know how well you can see this in the camera, right here, it's got his name, Carl Shift 56. I'm assuming that's 1956 when this would have been made. And it's a nice big sign bar. So if you're not familiar with a sign bar is, basically you can put a stack of gauge blocks up underneath here. You can very precise gauge blocks that are accurate down to a 1/10,000th of an inch, and you basically can calculate a stack to get a certain angle. They call it a sign bar because you use a sign function to figure out mathematically how big of a stack to put in there for the angle that you're trying to get. And these are very handy when you're grinding an angle or something like that over on the surface grinder. You can, in this case, it's got little tapped holes in here that you can screw this thing down. What I might do at some point in time is take this and just kind of freshen it up on the surface grinder. Basically just hit the top and bottom of this to make sure it's nice and flat. Just barely fuzz it. It won't take much at all. Make sure this thing's super accurate, and it'll be good to go. I've got several sign bars. I don't think I got one this big though, so this is definitely something that'd be handy, and it's plenty. My surface grinder, I could actually take one bigger than that. I do have one that's bigger than this, but it has a magnetic chuck on it, and it's really tall. So this, I can see where this would become in handy some other times when I have something a little bit smaller to work with. So Richard, thank you very much. Definitely something we can use, and we'll put it in the cabinet over there with my other sign bars and have it available when we need it. This is kind of an interesting item. Actually, over Christmas, my wife and I were going through a little antique store, which we like to do from time to time. And I saw this in there, and I actually put it down, and I actually went back and picked it back up because I just thought it was cool. This is a Babbitt scraper. You guys have probably seen me use these before. I've got a bunch of them in different sizes, and I really didn't need this from the standpoint of, just having another Babbitt scraper. But the main reason I went back and decided to get it is because this one is a shop-made one, handmade one from a file. I don't know if you can see that, but that's an old file up here that this was made from. And some blacksmith forged out that end down there. And what really impressed me was how well that was formed out. I know it's kind of dirty right now. I need to clean it up. But I mean, that's just really a nice job for something that was hand forged out of a file, I was really impressed with that. So anyway, I think I paid like $7 for it or something. And actually, I think it was 20% off of that. So it wasn't even that much, but I just had to bring it home with me. I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought it was neat that they put this old-fashioned clothespin on there to protect it while it was in the antique store. But anyway, I just thought that was cool. I thought I'd share that. Like I said, I need to clean it up a little bit, but really neat old handmade tool when you need something. Up next, got a couple of machinery manuals that were sent in by Chuck Bomarito, who's been a longtime friend of mine, fellow YouTuber out in California, goes by Outside Screwball. He's got a little home small shop, does some neat little projects and stuff out in his shop at the house. So I actually got a chance to visit his shop several years ago when I was in the Bay Area. My wife had a meeting out there, and I went with her and spent a couple of days actually hanging out with Chuck when my wife was at a meeting, and we met up with some other guys, Randy Richard and Tom Lipton, and goodness, I can't remember. There was a whole pile of us that we kind of hung out for a couple of days. That was a good, fun trip. A lot of good memories popped up there, and usually I see Chuck at the Barzy Bash a lot of times. He makes it down there. But anyway, just a good fella. Go check out his YouTube channel if you haven't before. But anyway, he picked up a 10EE Monarch recently, and when he got it, it came with a couple of manuals that were not for the 10EE, and he thought he would send them along for the website. The first one is for a Series 610 and 612 Monarch lathe, which happens to be my big lathe that I've got is a Model 612. So this is actually one for a lathe that I have in my shop. So I got the operator's manual and the parts catalog. Everything's all here together. I think there's already maybe a scanned version of this up on the website, but I don't have an original, so that's really nice to have that. And then the other one is for a 614 model lathe, which is similar to the one I've got, but a little bit different. But again, got the manual here, operator's manual, and I think there's a parts catalog in here as well. Yeah, there's parts in here as well. Some blueprints back here in the back. So anyway, we'll see. This is for a metric version too. We'll see if these need to be scanned. If so, we'll get them put up on the website. But at the very least, I'm really glad to have an original copy of the manual for my lathes. Chuck, thank you very much. Appreciate it as always. And yeah, this will be handy. So up next, got a collection of some horizontal milling cutters that were sent in by Doug Miller up in Franklin, Tennessee. He's got a little rust on them, but man, they are sharp. I don't think these things have ever been used. I mean, that thing is just, all of these, when I was taking it out of the box, I was noticing how sharp they were. So yeah, these are probably destined to get maybe a soak in some evapor rust to clean them up, and I'll put them up in my cabinet and have some really nice tools. So with these cutters like this, these come in several different widths in here, and you can stack these together to get the width that you need when you're doing horizontal milling, and you got, of course, different diameters. They're great for cutting keyways, all kinds of things. So anyway, nice to have a nice little selection here. Like I said, these need to be cleaned up a little bit, but no problem at all. I mean, they're all in great shape, all things considered. Like I said, extremely sharp. So I don't think they've ever been used. Doug, thank you very much. We'll definitely get these cleaned up. I'll get them put up in my cabinet over there and probably see them in use one of these days. So up next here, I got a couple of items that were given to me by John Flynn. John is the guy up at Air Base, Georgia. We did a little video up there not long ago where they restored the World War II airplanes. And I'll get this open here. This was in a rolled up packing sleeve. So these are some charts from Landis Tool Company that was actually sent in to, I got the original mailing to where these were sent to a Votech school up in the Atlanta area. Man, it doesn't have a date or anything on them that I saw anyway, just real quickly, but I'm guessing from probably the 60s. Yeah, I'm just guessing. But this is just a diagram showing a universal grinder, basically a cylindrical grinder. The interesting thing is that I've got a Landis cylindrical grinder, very similar to this one. I'd have to go out there and look. I don't think it's exactly like this, but it's pretty darn close. So anyway, that's pretty cool. That's gonna make some nice wall art. I need to get them rolled out where it will lay flat again. It's been in that tube for probably 50 years. And also here, there's a chart that came with it. And this is a stainless steel machining chart with cutting speeds and feeds and so forth like that for stainless steel from Armco. So anyway, some nice shop art here, and this is all pretty much original stuff in unused condition. So John, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Really, that Landis thing is really cool. Both of them are, but I really like that Landis thing just because I got that machine back there. So thank you very much, John. Book here, this was sent in by Richard Vituski. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, up in Rochester, New York. Steam is generation in use by the Babcock and Wilcox Company. 100% related content, no ads. I like that. Anyway, just some good Steam information here. This will go in my library. I've got a bunch of old books, Steam-related stuff, and old machinery-related stuff and whatever, and it's amazing how often I have found the need to go look something up in some of those old books. So anyway, very nice little piece of historical information here. Probably obsolete in today's world, but cool nonetheless. Copyright 1920, so this book's over 100 years old. That's hard to imagine. All right, Richard, thank you. So a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from one of my viewers, John DeRosa, who lives up outside of the Chicago area, right there close to where we have the ARNFest event. I've met him a couple of times at that event. He swung by and said hello. But he brought this one to my attention. He said, hey, here's something you might want to look at. This set of Starrett angle blocks, precision angle blocks, was for sale for, I think it was $350. And when I first looked at it, I'm like, that's kind of neat. You know, you got some standards in here. This thing goes down to minutes and seconds where you can stack them together. You get a very precise angle measurement. It's missing the 45-degree angle, the parallel's gone, the straight edge. I don't think that's the original straight edge that was with this set, but it's got most of what came with it here. And at first I'm like, that's neat, but I don't really need it. But then he pointed out to me and says, look at this. This set new, if you go to Starrett and buy this set, they still make it. You can go buy this set right now for the lowly sum of $17,127. Again, that's for a brand new set. This obviously is not a brand new set. That's for a complete set, but for $350, I'm like, that would be nice to have. So I went ahead and bought it. And anyway, it's something that I think will definitely be useful. I have the need to check angles from time to time. Now, this set here, when it was new, it had a sticker here. This actually was made in 1979, 7/26/79. However, it's got calibration stickers in here from Starrett, where it was calibrated in 2004, calibrated in 2007, and there's one right here, calibrated in 2008. And it is a TR grade. I'm not sure what that TR is, but for what I'm doing. I guarantee you it's good enough. You know, I'd love to find that 45-degree triangle, but at the end of the day, if worse comes to worse, I can make one. I got a surface grinder. I've got sign blocks. You know, it may not be to quite the same level of precision that Starrett will make one, but again, for my use and what I'm doing, it'll be plenty good enough. So anyway, nice set here. I was glad to pick it up. It was a bargain at the price, and yeah, there you go. That's kind of where we're at, but happy to pick this one up. And John, thanks for pointing that out to me. I'll put it over in my drawer, my other angle measuring devices, and yeah, this will come in handy. I am sure of that. So anyway, thought I'd share that. Up next, a couple of items sent in from John Perkins from up in Iowa, and let's see what we got here. So first off, a little box, new old stock of Dichem high spot blue, and this would be used in scraping and so forth. This is the old-fashioned stuff. Sometimes it comes in handy. I tend to use a water-soluble bluing product now. It's just easier to clean up, but this is what they definitely would have used back in the day, and I do occasionally get some of this out and use it. So anyway, pretty cool. I don't know how old that is, but that looks like a pretty old box. Been around a while. I don't see any dates on it or anything. The other thing he sent me here, make sure I don't have any blue on my hands before I open this up, is this International Harvester Oil and Gas Engines catalog from 1913. Now, I'm not sure if this is an original or a reprint. It doesn't say reprinted anywhere, but the condition is amazing for 1913. I mean, this thing is, again, over 100 years old. I mean, this is in near mint shape, which kind of makes me think this might be a reprint, but doesn't matter. It's still some cool information in here with some International Harvester equipment, and this is definitely within the scope of our Vintage Machinery website. So I'll look and see if this isn't already up on the site. We'll get it scanned and put up there. But anyway, very nice little catalog there from 1913. And John, thanks for sending that along. So up next, I got several items here that were sent in by Don Hasselbach. Don lives up in North Carolina. He's actually been down to the shop several times, helping me out on some work days and what have you, helping me with some projects. Good, hard-working guy, and really enjoyed getting to know him over the years. But he saw a video I did a while back where I showed some files like this for doing Babbitt, and he had a couple of files like this. He said he really hasn't ever had a need for them. They're not very handy for what these are for softer materials. Aluminum. They work really good on Babbitt. These are made by Heller. These are the Vixen brand. Or I don't know if it's a brand or a style or whatever, but they're made by Heller. Some good American-made files, and these are in pretty good shape. That was a half-round one. I don't have any half-rounds in that style. So anyway, very nice files to have and for doing Babbitt work. Don, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we'll put these up and have them available when we need them. Up next, got an item here from Mike Finley, also in Iowa. I have several from Iowa this time. This is a planer tool holder, the number 93 Agrippa, I think it is. This one's made by Williams. And these are really handy to use on metal planers and shapers. Basically, you've got this little thing up here in the front where you can put a piece of high-speed steel in there, and you got the little serrated thing that you can rotate around to whatever angle and lock it down. So these are really handy for using on metal planers and shapers. I've actually got a larger one. I think I got two different larger sizes. I don't have one this size, so very nice to have in the collection. Always good to have some planer tooling around. And thank you very much for sending this along, Mike. This will definitely be something we can use. So next here, got a little package in from Greg Kopp at My Little Mule. You guys may remember when I went on a big road trip at Arnfest this year, I actually stopped by Greg's shop. We did a little shop tour video of him. He's also got a YouTube channel. He got started doing machining because he bought an old Jeep that he was working on restoring, and he started really filming content about fixing his Jeep up, but it kind of evolved into a machine shop channel because he kind of was doing so much machining and so forth. But anyway, interesting guy. He well, also kind of introduced me to the guys up there at the in what was that, Cleveland, I think it was, where we visited the railroad place that does the railroad restoration work. He kind of introduced me to those guys as well. We did a video there also. But anyway, Greg sent along a little cup that says, got a little metal planer on it, says, "I'm not old, I'm vintage." He actually had several different of these styles that he kind of put together and had some cups made up. And he said the planer was kind of inspired by my planer that I did in my shop, so he thought he'd send me one. He also sent along a couple of decals, some cards, and a little picture from when Clark and I visited his shop. We were up there this summer. So anyway, Greg, as always, thank you, and I appreciate it very much. I'm always keeping a cup out here with some iced tea or water or something in it, so that will definitely get used, I guarantee it. Thank you, sir. So here we got some stuff that was sent in by Peter Koth. Peter's another guy that has been to the shop several times. He actually attended one of my scraping classes several years ago and has came back by a couple of times over the years. In fact, he was here about a month or two ago. Him and his wife, Vicky, stopped by and visited while they were in the area. And anyway, he sent along some stuff here that he was cleaning up his shop. This is some silver solder, so definitely some nice stuff there. And got a little brass oiler here for oiling. I use these all the time on old machines, and I've got a little drawer over there with some in them that I've collected up over the years just to have them when I need them. So Peter, again, thank you very much. Definitely we'll put these to use. So next, got a couple of items that were sent to me by Bernie Piscotti down in Florida. And this is actually a product that he came up with. He's actually one of my viewers, and he sent me a couple of these. This is what he calls a power boot. And basically what this is, let me open it up. So basically what this power boot is this is something you can stick on the bottom of your battery on a cordless tool or whatever. And it's a little compartment that you can put, sorry, my hand is not working good with it broken over here, but you can put little bits and whatever and have a selection of tool bits with you while you're working, and it just sits on the bottom of your battery. He sent this, it's got a little magnet in it, and he also sent a couple of these little magnet plates that you can actually put this on there, and these just stick on the battery. So if you got multiple batteries, you can just move this around from one unit to the other. Pretty neat little idea. So yeah, I'm gonna go pick a couple of my favorite batteries and stick these on there and try this thing out. Because that's often a problem I have. I'll carry my cordless drill and I'll go someplace to work on something, and dang, I haven't got the right bit and have to go back over here to my toolbox or wherever. So particularly going out on a work site or something like that, I can see where this will be a really, really handy item. Doesn't take up that much extra space, doesn't add that much extra space to the bottom of your drill. But you got a little container here with all this extra tools in there. So anyway, Bernie, thanks for sharing that. You'll probably see that on the bottom of some of my drills here coming up soon. So I went and grabbed a couple of these batteries and just put the little magnet piece on the bottom. It really doesn't add that much to it. And then this one here's got one on it with the power boot on it. And you can see that just sticks on the bottom and it just comes right off. So if you don't want it on there, you don't have to have it on there. If you want it on there, boom, you got it. And also, I went ahead and loaded this thing up. It actually is magnetic, so it's not just loose stuff down in the bottom. Your bits will stick in here, and they're designed where they fit up on this little hexagon-shaped magnet. Keep them all in place. So that's handy, you know. If you don't need it, you don't have to have it on there. But I'm gonna just put this over in my cabinet. I got 2 batteries with magnets on them now. And if I'm going somewhere, I can just grab one of those and stick that on there if I need it. If I don't need it, I can just leave it in the cabinet and don't worry about it. So anyway, I think that's a neat little idea, the power boot. So if you're interested in one, I think you can go to their website at powerboot.com. Powerboottools.com is what it is, yeah. And pretty neat. So thank you very much for sending one along. And just like that, guys, I think we got another episode knocked out here of odds and ends. I got everything cleaned up, got my pile of stuff over there off my workbench, which is always nice to see that pile go down, and always nice to be able to add some new stuff to the shop. got some more. I was actually was purposely kind of trying to hold this video off because I know I got some new things coming in here in the next week or two that I was going to include, but we'll just have to put it off to the next one. So we'll get to that one when the time comes. And with that, guys, hopefully be back in the shop soon, be able to do some work with my hand situation going on. It is getting better every day. And yeah, I'm optimistic that next week we'll be back out here doing at least some light duty stuff. And I've got some content that we can put together for that. So with that, we're going to sign off and get out of here. As always, thanks for watching. Please, please, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. I really hope to earn that subscription from you and be able to include you in those ranks of as being a subscriber on the channel. As always, big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. It does enable me to take the time to shoot these videos and do all the editing and everything that goes along with it to bring this content to you. Share those likes and comments, like those always very much. And with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video again. As always, thanks for watching.